San Marcos music scene, I think, is very eclectic and very diverse. You have like tons of different scenes and bands and little niches, which I think is really awesome. You have a really vibrant jazz scene. You have a kind of like a neo soul scene building up, rock. You got retro happening everywhere. I mean, there's just something for everybody, I think, in San Marcos, and I'm a huge fan of the music scene here. I think the fact that everyone, since it's a college town, everyone is kind of like the same age or in the same age range, it allows for a lot more creativity, and because we're so congested, it allows everyone to just kind of be friends with everybody else. Everyone is friend of someone else. Every other musician seems to know each other, and I don't feel like I get that in San Antonio or in Austin. I feel like everything is so separated. But in San Marcos, it's like, are you from San Marcos? And awesome, we're buds.
I would describe the San Marcos music scene as supportive. I feel like it's all love. Like, no matter like whose show we're going to, we're gonna see a lot of the same people, and those are the same people that are performing in other bands later on that night or the night before, and they're just coming out to show their love and to collaborate and just support each other. I would say that because of how tight-knit it is, sometimes it's a little hard to like break out of it, you know what I mean? You can like get a good following, you can pull good crowds here and like get a lot of love here in San Marcos, and then you step out into like Austin or something and like 2 people show up, and you know, it's just a different scene, and you got to treat them each differently. But I think in a lot of ways we're spoiled by the San Marcos scene, honestly. Austin is very saturated with music and musicians, and I feel like it's a lot more cutthroat competitive, and there's not as much support of another musician, but more so you're on the stage and I should be on this stage.
I've never been in a band with such a cohesive songwriting process. It is really something else. In a lot of other bands I've been in, I've been the primary songwriter. It's what I love doing. I'll continue to write songs for however, but Kairos, we've really created this 33% each kind of work ethic, and we all bring equally to the table, and I've never been in a band like that. This is our baby, and like we want to put as much love and care into this as possible. Not to go too far into finances or anything, but I haven't made a cent off this. This is all of everything that we get and everything we gain goes into furthering who we are and furthering the brand and getting us bigger and stronger. And that's why I think we've been able to accomplish so much in such short of time, is because nothing is for the individual in this group. It's all for the collective and all for building a better brand and building a better band.
It's being a part of a band in San Marcos. It's interesting because it's smaller, and like you can run into the same people. Like even when I first started playing with Fly Coco, you get to know people a little quicker. People become familiar with you quicker, even just by face or by name. When in larger cities, you could play for shows once a week for months and maybe just start to be like recognized. Here it's easier to like become familiar with the main venues and like with the people who are more committed into like just spending time in the music scene. It's a lot quicker to just like have that familiarity with people and have people have that familiarity with you. Probably all of the shows that are considered more chaotic were almost all house shows. Somebody's crowd surfing in a living room where there's shelves and stuff that could be kicked off, and people almost hitting fans. And it's like they've been some of the most intense, crazy stuff. Has been living rooms, backyards, people right there. No real defined space between like where the stage stops and where like the audience starts. It's like, okay, now it's just all kind of one crazy mix of everything. It's a big undertaking, but it's a very like communal thing to like invite people into your home just inherently, but specifically to invite people into your home and just say, hey, go crazy, but like have it still be about the music and not just about, you know, partying. It's different, but it's cool.
I feel like it's hard getting Texas State students involved in events. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like it has to do with the culture of it all. I feel like there's a lot of people who support music, but if you put it in the grand scheme of Texas State students, I feel like it's less than 1%. I feel like KTSW always promoting in the quad. I just don't know if they just don't like the music. I'm not sure. Maybe we just need to find a better algorithm to hit those communities. Because there's a bunch of them, but for some reason they just weren't coming out. Maybe we just have to diversify our artists. I feel like that really what it comes down to. Not losing ourselves, but realizing like indie means a lot of things. Some people are just used to what they're used to, and maybe going to shows and to see people that they don't know is uninteresting, which is understandable. Which is sad, but understandable. Which is why like I feel like if you invest in music, it would turn out. I feel like the thing about KTSW and the San Marcos music scene is that no one wants to pay anyone. You know what I mean? If you don't want to pay your artists, how can your artists develop? How can you get quality? That's what's gonna happen. Like you can't ask people to perform, to be there from 7 to 12 at night when they have lives and probably another job and not be paid for it. You know what I mean? Like art should be paid for. So I feel like that's like at the end of the day, that's why people will come and see things, because like the quality of it all, and the bands that are starting out will pay for free, and the bands that are more developed will bring people out, want to be paid. I feel like it has a lot to do with that system. Yeah.
Obviously music's hard to pay the bills. That's why like I'm studying horticulture, even though like plants are gonna barely pay the bills. There's a disadvantage to going to school and being in a band. That's like, not that like I don't like school or anything. I mean, school's obviously hard, but like the time management of like having to like balance school and balance you know, your music life too. It's kind of a struggle. It's a balance between, you know, just like obviously like we're making like all the music that we can. Sometimes it's hard focusing on like the business aspect where you have to like make merch and everything, and I guess like make it big or whatever. I'd say it's more about just like pumping out like the good music for us, because that's kind of what's made like focusing on the business aspect so hard, is our love for just making the music, you know, just making like stuff that like we like, you know. Musically, like in an ideal world, like I'd be able to like tour and sustain myself with just music, and I'd like to obviously just like travel the world and play music. You know, that's the goal, really. San Marcos music scene, it's scrumptious.